Hey everybody, here we are for our quiz review video. I've got 4 problems. This is Friday afternoon, is when I'm recording this. So I hope you had a good weekend. But now you're watching this on Monday, and I hope you have a good week. Just like we did on Friday, I'm gonna have 4 problems on the board to work through. 1 addition of mixed numbers, 1 subtraction of mixed numbers, 1 multiplication, and 1 division. These problems are very similar to what we did in class on Friday, and they are identical to the types of problems you will see on the quiz. On the quiz on Thursday, you're going to have a total of 8 problems, which means you're going to need to sort of really keep a good pace going through, because just to do these 4, it took a lot of classroom time on Monday or on Friday. So this week we will be practicing more, but Thursday's quiz, you're gonna wanna really have the routine and the rhythm down. I want you to think very clearly through the steps that we've been practicing for a little while now. You'll have a multiplication table sitting in front of you if you would like one. Although, again, I cannot encourage you enough to spend some time daily practicing those multiplication facts. It makes all of the difference in the world. If you don't have to pull yourself out of a math problem, think about the multiplication and then go, okay, now what do I do with that now? And put yourself back into the problem. Having that quick repetition, quick access to those multiplication facts makes all of the work that we're going to be doing for the rest of this year more friendly. It is more challenging if you don't have those facts down. I think you're finding that every time you have to look at the back of your math journal or look at a multiplication chart, you realize how much that slows you down and pulls you out of the process. So practicing those multiplication facts sounds like a big job. It's not. If you just spend 5 minutes a day practicing those facts, you're gonna see huge growth and speed picking up on solving these problems. These problems here really shouldn't take as long to solve, but it's what's getting in the way is those math facts. So practice, practice, practice. It's really, really important. It's essential for next year. It's essential for the year after, those math facts. And you can tell the difference of who has those facts down and who does not when it comes to how quickly they're able to complete the work here, right? So that's really important, but let's jump into it. We've got 2 problems we're gonna start with. Don't write them both down yet. Just start with the first problem, with this addition problem. Here we go. Let me scoot this over, camera. 3 2/7 plus 2 1/4. So when you look at those denominators, you should see 7 and a 4. You cannot add these fractions yet because they have different denominators, right? So, and by the way, notice that they are vertically written, and that allows us to write an equivalent fraction or equivalent mixed numbers so that we can add them. We can't add them yet. We need a new denominator that 7 goes into and that 4 also goes into. So when we're counting by 7s or counting by 4s, whichever one is the friendlier one for you, I'll pick 7 for now. 7, 14, 21, 28. 28 is the smallest number that both 7 and 4 can divide into, right? Now you can multiply 7 times 4 and get 28, but you might find at a later problem that, or on the problem on the quiz, that maybe there's a smaller number that's a denominator, but 28 is the smallest this time. So 3 2/7 is going to equal 3 and something 28ths. 2 1/4 is going to equal 2 and something 28ths. So 28 is our new denominator. What do I multiply 7 by to get 28? It was times 4. If I multiply the bottom by 4 of the fraction, I have to multiply the top by 4, and I get 8. 4 times 7 is 28. I multiply the bottom by 7. I have to multiply the top by 7, and I get 7. Remember, these are those giant ones, right here, right? 4/4 is equal to 1. 7/7 is equal to 1. 3 2/7 times 1 should equal an equivalent answer. Anything times 1, right? I really want on that quiz for you to show me this step. If you don't show me what you're multiplying by, I'm not going to give you full credit. Okay? I want to see all of that thinking, right? And so this is really important to me. So some of you have been writing really, really tiny. Looking at you, Frankie. Really, really small. Sorry to call you out, Frankie. Really, really small. And then, so don't go so small. Give yourself space, right, on the quiz to show me all that thinking, okay? Hi, Mr. Yu.
Hi, Mr. Dell.
You want to be on the quiz video?
Not really.
Okay.
Hi.
All right. So now I can add them. I have the same denominator. I'm going to add my whole numbers. 3 plus 2 is 5. And I'm going to add 8 28ths plus 7 28ths. And I'm going to get myself some 15 28ths. All right. Can that fraction simplify is your next question, right? You want to make sure that it can, if it can simplify, that you do. How do I know if it can simplify or not? Well, I'm going to start with my 15 here. I'm going to think of all my factors of 15. 1, that doesn't help anything because both divided by 1 would still give me 15 28ths. 2 doesn't go into that. 3 does, but 3 does not go into 28. 4 doesn't go into 15. 5 does, but 5 doesn't go into 28. 6, no. 7, no. 8, no. 9, no. 10, no. 11, no. 12, 13, 14, 15, no. So there's nothing that will divide into 15 other than 1, 3, 5, and 15. So, and none of those factors except for 1 goes into 28, so you are done. If when you add, you get an improper fraction here, then you have to turn this improper fraction into a whole number and it would add on to this 5, right? It might be 6 and something or 7 and something, depending on if this is an improper fraction, how big that improper fraction is. But this one is a normal fraction. It's a regular old mixed number now. This doesn't simplify, so you are finished. All right. Next question. I think I forgot to say this on the video, so I'm going to say it now. Copy this problem down, solve it after you pause the video. Pause the video, solve it, and then come back here, and we'll see how you did. All right? You're practicing for the quiz. So this was a freebie. I forgot to tell you to pause it, but you copied it down. Pause the video, solve it to make sure you know what you're doing, and then come back. All right? So pause. And then come back. All right, so same deal. Cannot subtract them because the denominators are different, right? So I'm going to rewrite these fractions. This pen does not want to work, so I'm going to pick a new pen. I'm going to write an equivalent fraction here. It's going to be 5 and something, 2 and something. What is my new denominator? Well, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. That's the smallest denominator. I can't think of another number with 7, 14, 21, 28, 35. Okay, that's the smallest number that they would have in common. So 35 will be my new denominator. Right? What do I multiply 7 by to get 35? It was times 5. If I multiply the bottom by 5, I have to multiply the top by 5 because that's the giant one. 3 times 5 is 15. If I multiply the bottom by 7, I have to multiply the top by 7. There's my giant 1. I get 28. So now I have my equivalent fractions. Now I can subtract. The denominators are the same. Wait a minute. I guarantee you there's going to be one like this. We'll see on that quiz. I've got 15 35ths. I'm trying to take away 28 35ths. I can't do that. So how do I get more up here? How do I get more in this numerator? I need the numerator to be larger so I can subtract. The denominator stays the same in the answer, right? So I'm going to regroup. I'm going to take this 5 and make it a 4. Remember, 1 equals 28 28ths. We're already dealing with 20, or no, not 28. I was thinking about that problem. We're dealing with 35ths. 35 35ths is equal to 1. I would love for you to show me that step in the quiz, right? So I took this 1 from the 5. That 1 is equal to 35/35. I'm going to give that 35 to this. Now I don't have 15 anymore. Now I have 50. 4 and 50/35 is the same thing as 5 and 15/35. Okay? Now I can subtract. 4 take away 2 is 2. 50 take away 28 is 22. My denominator stays the same. Now, I did that in my head. I can't check the work inside my head. I can't check the work inside your head. So, showing me this would be a really great idea to show me how you got that 22, right? I did it in my head, and then I'm like, oh no, I can't check that, right? But I can check this. This is a great way for you to show me your thinking, right? So all of this, the giant ones I want to see, the regrouping here to show how we can get a number large enough for you to subtract. This showing me the giant 1 here, this 1 that you took away from the 5, that's the 35/35. So we can make this larger so that I can now subtract. Can that simplify? Well, fortunately, no, it can't. 22, the only factors of 22 are 1, 2, 11, and 22. And none of those go into 35. So we're done. That's a simplified problem. All right. I hope you got that as your answer. If you didn't, then pause the video so you can see this screen. Don't erase your answers, but recopy this, right? Because it's helpful to know what errors you made. I want you to go back actually to your mistake and think, well, what did I do there? How did I get it wrong, right? And find your error so you can fix it, okay? So those are adding and subtracting. Let's move over to multiplication and division. All right. Here's our multiplication problem and our division problem. All right. Copy this problem down. 4 2/3 times 2 1/7. Notice this is now horizontal. I didn't do it vertically like these guys did. The reason why I had these vertically is so that I could write the equivalent fractions. Show an expression here that says this is equal to this is equal to this, so I can add or subtract. But when we're multiplying and dividing, it is across the top, across the bottom, so it's easier to keep them horizontal like this. All right. But I can't, so pause the video after you recopy this problem, solve it, and then come back here. Let's see how you did. Okay, so it is across the top and across the bottom, but not yet. Because right now we've got mixed numbers. I got a 4 and a 2, the whole number 4, whole number 2, right? So I need to have it just be a fraction, just a numerator and denominator with no whole number. I do that by doing this thing here where the denominator times the whole number plus the numerator. 4 times 3, 3 times 4 is 12, plus 2 is 14. The denominator stays the same. 7 times 2 plus 1, 7 times 2 is 14, plus 1 is 15. 7, denominator stays the same. Now I have across the top and I have across the bottom that I can multiply. All right? But don't do it yet, because if you're seeing large numbers like this, 14 times 15, it means that you're not simplifying or pre-simplifying or cross-simplifying, which is something that you can do. And I can almost guarantee you, spoilers, that there's going to be some way that you can simplify these fractions. Okay, I wrote them so that you can have that to look for. All right, I want to see that you're seeing that. So pre-simplifying is when you're looking vertically. Is there anything here that I can simplify before I multiply? I don't see anything. Do you see anything? But there is cross-simplifying that we can do. And there's a lot of that can happen in this problem. So I'm going to start this way. I have a 7 and a 14. What number goes into both? Of course, 7 does. 7 divided by 7 is 1. 14 divided by 7 is 2. 7 goes into both. You could write the little divide divided by 7, divided by 7. If you really want to make sure that your thinking was super clear, right? What number goes into 15 that also goes into 3? 3 does. Divided by 3, divided by 3. 3 goes into 3 one time. 15 goes into 3 5 times. Now I've got a 2, a 1, a 5, and a 1. Multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom. What an interesting answer we get. Who would have thought? 2 times 5 is 10. 1 times 1 is 1. 10 over 1. That can simplify also. What does it simplify to? 10 divided by 1 is equal to 10. Who would have guessed? Who would have guessed that the answer is 10? Just straight up 10 as a whole number answer. That is really interesting. There it is. The numbers can't lie. 4 times 3 is 12, 14 thirds. I'm not believing myself. I just made this problem up off the top of my head, and here it is getting an answer 10. That's crazy. 15, 7, 14, 5. There it is. Who knew? All right, you can get a whole number answer when you're multiplying fractions. We just did it. All right, division. Just like multiplication, just with a couple of extra steps, all right? Right now, they are mixed numbers. Can't deal with the mixed numbers. They've got to be a fraction only, right? So, let's see what happens. Maybe we'll get a crazy answer that I wasn't expecting. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 2 is 14, over 6. 12 times 1 is 12, plus 9 is 21, over 12. All right? Still is division. All I did was converted them into mixed numbers, or into improper fractions. It's still a division problem. Nothing has changed. This is still this. This is still this. It's still division. Here's the extra step you got to do. Hi, look, Miss Bailey's coming to visit. We're doing a math review video. We're almost done. You want to hang out? Now we got to do the thing to turn this division problem into a multiplication problem. And to do that, it's always the second fraction. You got to invert it. What's the other word for invert? That's right. It is the reciprocal. We got to flip it over on its head. 14/6 stays the same. Flip that over. Now I have a 12 over 21. Now I can simplify, pre-simplify or cross-simplify, but now it becomes a multiplication problem. That's when you can simplify. You can only simplify it once it's multiplication. We're looking vertically. I see some stuff I could do here to simplify. I see some stuff I could do here simplifying, but I also have the diagonal. I can cross-simplify if I want. You could do any one of those in any order that you can, and you'll get the same answer if you're doing it correctly, all right? I am gonna go diagonal because I see the 14 and I see the 21. I know that 7 is a factor of both. I'm gonna write right here, divide by 7, divide by 7. Now this is a 3, 21 divided by 7 is 3, 14 divided by 7 is 2. I can divide both of these by 6. Now some of you might accidentally say, oh, I can divide them by 2. Yep, you can. And then when you multiply, you'll have to simplify at the end. And that's fine. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 12 divided by 6 is 2. Now I've got this friendly numbers. I've got a 2 and a 1, a 2 and a 3. So much easier to multiply together than 14 times 12. I multiply across the top, I get a 4. Multiply across the bottom, I get a 3. That's an improper fraction. So a little bit more simplifying I can do. That's almost one you can do in your head, and I know which one of you are doing in your head. This is going to simplify. You have this little teeny space here. 1 whole and 1/3. Now, if you wanted to really show me that you've got your thinking clear, you could do a division problem that looks like this. And you know what? That would make me smile if you showed me that work. But you didn't have to. 4/3 is a really friendly fraction to turn back into a mixed number. All right. So we have addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. There's one of each here. You're gonna have two of each on the quiz. Show me all that thinking. Make your thinking clear, nice and sized writing, make it really minuscule and everything else, then I'm gonna scratch my head and I may not give you credit because if I can't read it, I can't score it. Do your best. Copy these notes down in your journal, take a photo of those and drop it into Google Classroom for credit for the homework tonight. And we're gonna be great. When can you get that extra help? I know you're thinking it in your head. That's right, Tuesday. It's the last day that you'll see me at lunch to get that help before the quiz on Thursday. All right? So get it all done. Take a photo. Google Classroom. Talk to you later. Bye.